Now this is now officially, for your entertainment, a reaction video. Now, if you're wondering what I'm holding in my hand, this is not some sort of a weird Dakimakura body pillow, although that would be a very small one, I guess. This, as you can judge from your general knowledge of bicycle parts, a fork. From the usual place, as you can judge as well. Now, I am very interested in what I'm going to find inside, and as you can imagine, there is a very important reason why I bought this one, and it's going to be apparent in just a few moments. Alright, so here we start, but before, this is a cat, because you know I need to work on my analytics, and I heard that cats are very popular, so I need to spread the channel. So this is a cat, so this is now a cat video and a reaction video. And you know what? Now this is a reaction to a cat video, something kinda thing. Anyhow, let's go into the meat of the matter. Oh, I forgot about one more thing. Okay, now this is also an ASMR, so I hope I'm going to have at least 5 million subscribers when this video uploads. Anyhow, this is the box, and the main problem with the box is that it came packaged like this. Yeah, this piece was completely removable when the package arrived, so yeah, not really inspiring confidence, but what you can say about the Chinese, they have to cut coolness somewhere. So let's unpack this. So this is now an unboxing video, so this is a reaction cat ASMR unboxing video. Jesus, I don't know what I'm going to do with all those people that are going to watch this. I guess I'm going to start my OnlyFans or something like that. Anyhow. Oh, and by the way, I decided that I'm not going to cut or edit this. This is going to be almost a live stream, but since it's going to be recorded, it's going to be a dead stream. But I suppose this one's going to be rather long, so I don't really have the time to go edit and open your fork. Edit and do multiple takes, because besides opening a package is kinda single event kinda deal. Now, as you can see, this is the reason why I bought this fork, because you see, I am a person of color, which means I really like things that are colorful. And as you can see, this one, stay there, package. This one was bought by yours truly, because it happened to be in my favorite color, which is orange. Now, I don't know how well it's going to be shown on the video, but this is not some sort of a weird Kashima. This is actual anodization, which is also orange, so the entire thing is completely orange. Alright, so let's disassemble this one. You can almost pretend this is a fox, but it's not a fox, so let's call it a ferret, I guess. Alright, let's go through all the features from the entire thing from the outside. Oh, there's a star nut here, so I have another star nut that goes on the pile of star nuts I happen to own. Alright, so this is the fork. This is a 9mm axle, but I'm going to be using it with a 9 to 15mm converter, so it's going to be a through axle kind of almost a thing. There's 120mm of travel, but I guess it can be converted to 100mm internally. We'll see. This is a straight steerer, 1.1/8 of an inch, so kinda retro. The length of the steerer is unfortunately just 22 centimeters, because giving that extra 5, which me and my XL frames kinda need, would be an issue for them. But I guess, well, we'll see if that's going to be a problem. In all fairness, this fork most likely going to end on a bike that doesn't really need all that much steerer. Anyhow, I bought this fork because on the listing this knob was present, which is actually clicking pretty nicely. And this knob here is a rebound adjustment, and if you are interested, you're possibly interesting, you're watching this channel obviously. However, if you're interested, a proper functioning mountain bike fork with a travel more than 60 millimeters has a working rebound adjustment. Anything that doesn't is essentially worthless. I would like to go into the philosophy of all the adjustments you can have. However, you can take this for pretty much wholly. If it doesn't have a rebound adjustment, this is a worthless fork. Anyhow, on the upper stanchion here you've got using the it's kind of chunky really. You have the adjustment knob from the Manitou fork, but I doubt this is a ABS plus damper. It's just a knob. However, I think this is just a lockout. So the RC2, or more specifically RC2, is actually a lie, because it doesn't have a rebound and slow and fast compression adjustments. So what sort of RC2 is it really? Now, I think this lockout is actually working, or the fork is just so hard that I can't compress it. Let's see. Alright. I think I can compress this a little bit. So I need to depressurize it, and if I engage the blockout, it's still compressing. So it doesn't seem to be doing much. Although maybe this is, or I didn't push this hard enough or far enough, I don't know. Or this is a lie. Nope, certainly not locked out. And I can't turn this any further. Or maybe this came with a locked... No, I'm turning this in the direction of the ABS and doesn't work. So either this works in reverse, or this is a lie. But if I have this position here, and if I push it from this direction, nope, this doesn't seem to do much of anything. What about rebound then? Well, I can't check the rebound with this particular arrangement. Can I? Well, no, not here. I have to do it on the bike, so you'll have to wait for an actual test of this fork. And this is obviously an air fork because they are simpler to manufacture. And the interesting feature about this one is that it has two air chambers. There's a air chamber here as you can see, and there's an air chamber here, which means this might be a dual air fork. And if you don't know what dual air is, essentially a typical air fork will have a main air chamber and a spring here, which acts as a negative spring, which, let's not go into details how air springs work, but this essentially makes the fork much more compliant. Some modern forks, especially the higher end ones, have the negative chamber, which is automatically filled, which is also a chamber of air chamber, which is filled as you push air into the main chamber. They are filled at the same time, and at certain pressure they simply lock out and they are separate, and as the fork compresses, the main chamber shrinks and the negative chamber is enlarged. However, before that was possible, a way to make a air fork with two chambers without using the negative springs was to have both chambers to be available for the user, which allowed you to push as much air, for example, to the main chamber, which would give you the right height control, and then push as much air into the negative chamber as you possibly need to control how plush the fork truly is. So was much more adjustable, but kind of confusing for a newer run. It was much more adjustable, but much less friendly to a fresh rider, because you had two air valves to control, so I don't know what to expect. Anyhow, let's disassemble this thing and see what's inside. What do I need? I possibly need a 27mm wrench, I think. Yep, 27mm socket. This one was converted or machined down to a little bit, because standard wrenches don't work on forks, because this screw here is very shallow, so I had to machine some material from here. So this one is for the main chamber. What's down on the fork? I'll need a very small Allen, and I think that's it, and some regular wrenches. Okay, let's get the proper tools. 2mm? Nope. 2.5mm. Well, I think I'm going to cut here, because I'm going to now search for a proper tool. Multi-tools. Never leave home without them. No, this one's a bigger one. Or this might be a Torx wrench. I got forbidden inch. It's an inch Allen, which would suck majorly. Oh, this one. Okay, this is a 2mm Allen wrench. It would be really odd for Chinese to make an inch-sized screw somewhere here. Alright, this is the adjustment knob. Now let's take the ABS, or let's take out the fake ABS adjustment and see what's inside. I wonder what sort of a wrench I'm going to need for this particular cap. Teeny tiny springs are always somewhere over there, and they have teeny tiny balls, and I forgot to take that into account because I'm an idiot. Now I'm going to search for those little balls. Alright, I found those things. Get here. So, this is also 27mm? I don't think so, or maybe? Alright, let's let go the air and see what do we have inside of this beast. If I'm not mistaken, this perspective is going to be very confusing to some of you. Thankfully, the anonymous manufacturer of this fork has made everything up to a Esser Saunders standard, which means that the top caps are 27mm. I wonder if these caps are replaceable with Epicon or one of those forks. I guess that would be something worthwhile to check. Right. I'm now taking off the lower legs, so you can see this here. And I don't think I have a proper wrench for this one, because as usual there's a very little place to insert a wrench. this is an air chamber cartridge, and as you can see, it's sealed, so this kind of sucks. Can I? No. I can't use violence, but I think it is actually dual air. We'll have to check this once this entire thing is disassembled. If it's dual air, you can very possibly control the amount of travel you get by pumping the chambers in differing pressures. Or that's what my thinking is. It might be completely incorrect. Alright, this is the air spring assembly. Unfortunately not serviceable. As you can see, this one has been pressed, so no disassembling of this one. Let's see how the other part looks like. I'm guessing it's also going to be a cartridge of some sort. Alright, so this is the entire fork disassembled in all of its glory. If you're wondering why the abrupt change in the video format, it's because I've been interrupted by a family member and I had other business to attend to. Anyhow, lower stanchions or lower stanchion assay, upper stanchion assay, lower stanchions, damping unit, unfortunately sealed cartridge, air spring, unfortunately sealed cartridge. There you go. The upper stanchions are aluminum, the steerer is aluminum, so this is better than what would Santur sell you at this approximate price point. On the lower stanchions, unfortunately, the bushings are... I'll try to show it to you, but I don't know how the camera is going to pick it up, or whether the camera is going to pick it up. The bushings are polymer, not Teflon, so unfortunately this is the inferior kind of bushings. The air spring has a negative air here, positive air here, so this is more adjustable. I kind of like this. The damping unit, you have a rebound adjustment here. It actually works. So if you press this here, there's a pretty rapid return. If you're going to go to the other extreme, it's kind of slower. The adjustment on the upper side of the cartridge is a slow compression, or is a compression, but if it's compression, it's always slow compression. And that's just about everything you have in this fork. In all honesty, in its price point, considering its kind or its country of origin, I would expect something better, but on the other hand, I just couldn't expect something better, could I? Now, unfortunately, you can't adjust the travel using some sort of spacers, because that's usually achieved by inserting spacers between the piston here on what's inside and the upper assembly. That's not going to be happening in this particular unit. On the other hand, it most likely is going to remain sealed for foreseeable future. So I guess that's good. Overall, for the price paid, it's fair, but it's not earth-shattering. However, at least this is the cheapest option for you to get the compression and the rebound adjustments, so I guess that's pretty good. Although, let's face it, Santur is always adding the hydraulic lockout here, and hydraulic lockout is essentially the slow compression, just so slow that it's permanent. If they wanted, they would give you the slow compression adjustment, but I guess more people want the lockout, and I can't blame them. Anyhow, now I'm going to reassemble this, and I'm going to, well, install it on a bike and see whether it's going to perform, well, whether it's going to perform correctly, or somewhat, I don't know, fine, I guess. No stanchion stiction, the adjustment or the range of adjustment of the compression and the rebound is going to be correct or significant. And as a precaution, I'm going to lube the stanchions. I'm going to lube the stanchions, or I'm going to lube the inside of the lower legs with the SR Santur method, which is the grease, not the oil. And we'll see how that's going to pan out. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you on the next one. But no, this is not the end, because as I was assembling this thing, I had a few extra thoughts about this, so let me start by, do you see this? This is absolutely awesome, because as I pulled the rebound adjuster all the way in, I managed to get the fork to get stuck down in this particular travel mode, so no travel at all. And if you undo the adjuster, the fork starts to use its travel once again. This is absolutely awesome, because this is a air fork that essentially has an Mazuki ETA travel adjuster. Essentially turn the knob, push the fork all the way down, and now you can do that epic climb without being bothered by geometry of your bike, which was kind of an issue, well, 12 years ago. And it's quite interesting that this fork, I get that by accident allows you to do this. Unfortunately, the top adjuster doesn't seem to do much at all. I try to dry cycle it, but there's really no change there. So it either isn't working correctly, or I have to do some extra wiggling here to make it work as the manufacturer specified. Anyhow, I had this pumped up, and one thing that I forgot to note, that all the forks that are budget forks on the market, and essentially this is a budget fork, obviously, when you have an ability to adjust the negative and positive air pressure, you have the ability to fine-tune the fork for a very specific biker weight. And this particular fork is going to be used by a person, essentially, or at some point is going to be used by a very light person. So the forks on the market that are in the same price range will only allow you to adjust either the preload of a spring or a preload of an air spring, which has a negative spring that is a steel coil, most likely too hard. So for a very light riders, the fork is not going to be very sensitive, and this one at least has the potential to work correctly in such an occasion. And as I noticed, this is a dual air fork, so positive and negative air chamber, but the sticker here is for a solo air fork, so I don't know what's up with that. I think they just started sticking random stickers all over it, because that makes no sense. Anyhow, I think that this is really all I have to say about this fork. Now I'm going to mount it to a bike and see how it actually works, whether there's no stanchion stiction or some other unpleasantries. And I hope I'm going to post some sort of a update for this one in a few weeks. So thank you for your undivided attention, and I hope to see you in the next one now for reals. Alright, additional addendum, full of mosquitoes. I have played around with this fork today, and I have filed off this tab here, because I'm wondering what sort of adjustment I'm getting out of this adjuster. And the tab that was previously here would limit the amount of rotations I can do. So now I can, well, if I go one way, I get normal function of the fork, and if I go the other direction, like this, the fork is locked. So I'm guessing that if I do a bit less of this, I'm getting some sort of a compression adjustment, or maybe just a lockout. I don't know, frankly I don't care. But at this point the only thing I'm really worried about is whether this $140 of a fork is going to survive longer than, well, you would expect from a $140 fork, especially since this is not the typical anodizing on a fork. So that might mean that this is just for looks and it's going to wear out immediately. Anyhow, if that happens, or it develops some sort of play or something like that, I think I'm going to make an additional video. Anyhow, I hope this is the last addendum that's going to be addended to this video, and I hope to see you around.